Well, that really was something. That's how you do an episode. There's a lot to discuss here. I'm just like, where to begin? Guess episode 8, best one so far, really. Although I do feel that a lot of what I said about last week's episode doesn't quite hold anymore, which is weird. We got so much more insight into everyone pretty much, and it's great to see. And like, I'm happy to be wrong. Where to begin? I guess first and foremost, I should address the fact that I misinterpreted some things. The big one being that Kikuhiko really does love Miyokichi. That the source of his distance from her is not so much personal discomfort or dislike as it very well may have originally been, but him really trying to adhere to the expectations that others have of Rakugo performers, which is interesting. Like, he cares more about Rakugo, of course, we've always known that, it's not surprising, but he really is just rejecting her because the masters do not approve of that sort of relationship with that sort of woman, and that if he really is going to be in a relationship at all, he needs to marry a proper woman. And honestly, in a way, this sort of makes a lot more sense. Like, Kikuhiko has always been distant. He's always had something of a bitter demeanor. But this week and last, he's been incredibly harsh toward her, in a way that really is beyond his usual mannerisms. And like, there's usually something of like an exasperation or a sarcasm behind what he does, like when he's interacting with Sukeruku. But with Miyokichi, it's almost aggressive at times, like when he walked in this week on her and Sukeruku hugging. Like, I'll talk more about Sukeruku later. Got a lot to say. But for now, I just want to focus on this. Like, why is he really acting like this? Basically, he's steeling himself to break up with her, he says, even though he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to show her any kindness and keep her hopes up, so that the impending conversation it's coming soon. If nothing else, it doesn't come as a surprise to her. She sees it coming. And doing so might just make it a little bit easier. I'm not saying this is the best way to deal with it, it's definitely not. But it's how he is dealing with the issue. But still, you wonder if this is the right decision to push her aside because of work, and not just because of work, but simply because his superiors expect him to live up to a certain image. Like, if he really does love her, I can't see him coming out of breaking up with her happily without regrets. Like, he says that acting like this, like he doesn't love her, that he's going to break up with her, is just one of his life's great lies. And in a show that has, in the past, focused so much on authenticity and being true to the person that you are, to the things that you cherish, this can't be a good thing. And so now we pretty much have tied into this personal conflict some questions about what Rakugo should be. And just like the way that these two things tie into each other, it's brilliant. Like, it's evident, as always, through how Kikuhiko and Sukeruku contrast and play up with each other. Just like running theme throughout the show. Kikuhiko is proper, he is traditional, he always does as he is told. Anything that his masters ask of him, he'll just do it, be it in meeting responsibilities or turning away the woman he loves. He is, I guess you could say, they throw this analogy at Rakugo as it was. Sukeruku, on the other hand, is coarse. He performs just for the people and will defy tradition if it means appealing to people's ever-changing tastes. And his masters view him as disobedient and irresponsible, and even something of a burden. And of course, he is willing to defy them, be it in performing or in choosing to comfort and go after a woman that they deemed unfit for a performer at Rakugo. He is, I guess you could say, to use that analogy, Rakugo as it could be in the future. But then, the two of them ask in this episode, is it even Rakugo? Even more in that case. To which Sukeruku answers. And like he's really just showing himself to be intelligent and thoughtful and perceptive this episode, like a lot of times, in a way that I hadn't really expected from him. Like, I love it, but it just surprised me. He answers that is why they need both of them. And this is coming straight out of Kikuhiko saying that even the two of them shouldn't be together anymore. Just like how much fun they have together, meaning that Sakatagu may be a distraction. How much he feels that he's in his shadow, meaning that he may be an obstacle to his future success. But Sakatagu's like, no, it doesn't need to be like that. The world needs both of us to keep Rakugo alive, as we want both types of performance. And it's just like a very interesting way to look at the ideas of just like the traditional world and the modern world. Just like even the time period itself, it's on the border of those two completely different worlds. So we've got this like in the literal sense, then in an artistic sense, and then in terms of personal relationships as well. And it's really just brilliantly constructed and put together, and I'm just like, well done, Rakugo. Again, well done. And they do essentially go their separate ways this episode. What exactly that means, I don't really know. Like, they'll still be performing in similar venues, they'll still have the same master, but they just won't be living together anymore, definitely. And just in general, I guess they won't be seeing each other very often. Which is kind of sad, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Like, Kikuhiko, don't feel like you need to do this alone. These people love you, and you love them. Don't cast them away. Like, you've always been cast away yourself. Don't do that to them. Can you tell that I love Kikuhiko? And all of them, really? This show. The farewell scene between Sakatagu and Kikuhiko was very touching. It really was. Like when Sakatagu gives him his treasured fan as a parting gift, which I would guess is the fan that the older Yakumo constantly carries around with him. Just calling that now. But like when he explains what it means to him, his old master Sakatagu, who introduced him to this world of Rakugo, and who ended up dying alone in the theater, the man he both sort of wants to be and is afraid to become, and probably will become, honestly. But just again, some unexpected depth from Sakatagu, but he gives the fan away as a gift, as a parting gift, first of all, but also to point out the fact that he's leaving that behind him, that he is going to become Yakumo. He is going to be the one that takes up the name of success. And just like knowing what happens, knowing that doesn't come to pass, knowing that Kikuhiko gets the title and Sakatagu dies. It's awful. It's upsetting. Just like the brilliance of placing that first episode where it was, instead of telling the story in a chronological order, it's brilliant. But we're also left with the fact that Sakatagu is also leaving the name of Sakatagu to Kikuhiko. And so that Kikuhiko should be carrying on his legacy even after what we know to be his impending death. And so we're left wondering, is the older Yakumo that we saw in episode 1, is he really living up to the person that Sakatagu wanted him to be? Does Kikuhiko think that? Don't know, just some questions to keep in the back of your head. But yeah, now that I think about it, Sakatagu really is the star of this episode, for me at least. Because, like, we've got a scene with Miyokichi as well. Like, the poor girl really should be getting with him. And I'm guessing that she does eventually. But, like, even so, the fact that she and Kikuhiko will continue to actually love each other complicates things. But I don't want to think about that yet. Because the two of them would be great together, and in time we will have the real breakdown of the love triangle. But not yet. I've got to think about it. There was just like such an honesty and an easiness to their conversation that I haven't really noticed in her conversations with Kikuhiko. Like, they're talking about how only men can understand Rakugo, but how only women could understand why she'd be willing to put up with Rakugo, something that she dislikes, for the person that she loves. And it really is just like an interesting conversation between them, just like felt so natural. But also through it, you can see how sad her position is. Loving Kikuhiko really is doing a number on her. Like, you can see it even in her appearance. Like, she's still beautiful, obviously, but just like the way that she dresses, the way she styles her hair and does her makeup, she's just much more somber and not at all the playful, teasing woman that we met a few episodes back. But you also realize that that woman probably really wasn't much like the real Miyokichi to begin with, that she really was just putting on airs to woo men, as selling herself was really the only way that she could survive after having been abandoned. Abandoned probably like Hiko, which I think that these little parallels between their character might just in themselves be a potential source of attraction between the two. But never mind that. By her nature, she really just is this very sad and very broken, but still very strong woman. And so Sukerugo can't help but feel for her in her misery, and being the nice guy he is, as she calls him, he can't help but do what he can to comfort her in this situation, ultimately embracing her. And Kikuhiko, and then we have all that stuff that I discussed earlier. It's completely out of order, but whatever. The scene was incredible. Just like, even just the animation. Really, the art, the colors, it was beautiful. Just like, I made it my thumbnail for a reason. Really, just like the show in general is incredibly aesthetically pleasing, but this scene definitely stood out to me in that regard. Now, I think that covers everything that I wanted to discuss. Next week's going to be rough if we're to go by the previews. They do not look pleasant, but you know what? At this point, I'm just really looking forward to it regardless. I am ready for this show to tear my heart out, because it is a masterpiece. Thank you, Rakugo. And thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and or subscribe. I would really appreciate it if you did. But that's all for now, and I'll see you soon.